morning, Mr. Nigel Akkara, other distinguished guests, my dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. I'm really happy to be here in this opening session of this case launch. And a very good morning to all of you. Case study, as we see, can contribute to participative and social learning. Good quality case studies can help improve management education. There is no debate about any of this. But exactly how we can create case studies of our own? Because as a management institute, what we have seen so far is that we use case studies prepared by our schools, our business school, our cases, IB cases and all. Because with this objective that we should have more of our Indian cases, that IIM Kolkata a few years back started this IIM Kolkata case research center. The whole idea being that we should start developing case studies based on Indian cases. So the case method has been recognized as an important pedagogical tool in environment management education and has been used in varying degrees by different management colleges. Case method can also simulate management decision-making environment, interface with business issues. It can provide data facts for the students to understand different business situations and issues. For us, IIM Kolkata, which is a premier management institute in the world, we use cases in several of our courses, taught to the postgraduate students, and also to our executive programs. In the short duration as well as long duration executive education programs. We have increased use of cases in our courses and emphasize participative learning instead of pure lectures. To facilitate this process, we have implemented Harvard Business School Partnership, from where we can find any number of cases, and this enables our faculty to use high-quality teaching resources, be it cases, teaching notes, industry notes, etc. We also have close ties with the Indian business community, and we enjoy an advantage in developing cases in the Indian context as well as that of the emerging markets. We are documenting partnerships with established global institutes for this initiative, as these institutes are looking for India-focused cases. So we believe that with our growing importance of India in global economy, there will be an increasing demand for India-focused cases among academicians and practitioners around the world. So that's essentially the reason why we have this case research center, we put increasing emphasis on it now. So the way from the IIM case research center to IIM is in terms of the enhanced reputation that is expected, of course. It also helps to develop a team of faculty members experienced in case teaching, writing and research, and to create greater knowledge of the Indian business. At IIM Case Research Center, we aim to create a web-based repository of teaching cases and teaching notes that can be used by faculty of IIM Kolkata, our Indian universities, and also universities worldwide that are interested in understanding how Indian businesses operate. We try to establish a strong channel of communication between the academic community of IIMC and the Indian business community, and to create an environment for mutual learning. Our center also provides resources and creates opportunities for new and existing faculty members who are interested in developing case studies. Thus, a culture for cross-disciplinary teaching and learning by gathering faculty members from different institutions to work together and share their knowledge and expertise in addressing real life business problems. Let me also take this opportunity to inform you about some of the case writing activities taking place at present. We have gained quite a bit of momentum in this sector. At present, we have several case projects that are in different stages of completion. The organizations that we are interacting with or have interacted with include the Kolkata Police Force, Microsoft IT India, Bosch India, Visual, Doctors Poly, etc. Many of these cases are already public and some of them are ongoing and it should be talked. Students at our institute are extremely responsive when it comes to case participation. And the student community frequently makes it known that cases are indeed an effective tool to learn that we apply theoretical concepts. When I will thank Media Task Foundation for the workshop that was conducted this year. We need to appreciate their work with the prisoners and their social contribution. Finally, I would like to thank Mr. Nigel Akkara for allowing the IMC Case Research Center to conduct a case study on the rehabilitation of prisoners. While much attention has been given to cultural therapy and vocational training in jail, little attention is paid to post-release rehabilitation. It is a challenging problem that requires sustained work. There is plenty of research happening in the developed world. However, in India, research efforts are spent in this domain. The case study on Kolkata Facilities Management provides an opportunity to open up discussion, debate, and future research. Thank you.
Yeah, and Kolkata Case Research Center, we try to write both traditional orthodox cases as well as unorthodox cases. In fact, one of our first cases was on Kolkata Police that Director was mentioning on crowd management during Durga. Unlike Kumbh Mela, where it is held in a place where there is not economic activity happening. During Durga Puja in the daytime, many private sector offices are open. So you have to maintain the normal economic activities at the same time allow pujas to happen. So we looked at it. So this is our endeavor, to have this kind of cases also as a part of our curriculum. So the students have a holistic view of how to run enterprises, whether it is for profit or not for profit, whether it is social enterprises or normal business entities. Now we, as an academic institution, give strong emphasis to ethics and social elements of education, and we nurture and incubate social enterprises. I think as an academic institution, our role is to come up with a framework of how we evaluate the impact of some of these enterprises. Because every time you can't evaluate the impact of an endeavor with financial numbers or profits. So what Mr. Akkara is doing, there have been examples of similar endeavors in other parts of the world, and where the impact investors put in money, and when they put money, they don't put money just for looking at profits. So, as an academic institution, we have a responsibility to create a framework whereby you can measure the impact of such activities. So, for example, any impact investor would not look at ROI to see whether their fund has made any meaning. They look at something called social return on investments. So, we are working a little bit. We have faculty who is sitting here who works in the area of social enterprises, looking at how to measure the impact of these activities. So we have a role to play as an academic institution, and I am very happy that you have at least made one step in the case of this learning process. We are also learning. Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is my great pleasure to welcome all of you to this activity of IMC Case Research Center in collaboration with Manager Sri Foundation. And I thought I'd just give a brief update of the activities that are taking place under the aegis of the IMC Case Research Center. So the IMC Case Research Center is actually a research activity of IIM Calcutta. It was born in the summer of 2012. And we started with the first case method workshop for that. So as has been mentioned by my director, that we hope to become a repository for cases, primarily India-based cases that have interest in stories to tell the world. And we have focused on both relevance and rigor, and we want to capture cases that have happened in the last 5 years or so and put an academic framing to those cases through the teaching notes, because after all the cases are pedagogical tools that are going to be used in classes to teach certain academic concepts to our students. So our distribution is through our own website and also through some other case hearing houses with which we are going to have partnerships. Some of them are already in place and some are in progress. And the Case Research Center was funded by the Board of Governors, IIM. So, in our engagement with corporates, and I think Professor Banerjee mentioned that our first case study was actually with the Kolkata Police Force and managing the crowd during the Durga Puja, which was a great learning experience for us. We have done other case studies that are completed, including one on Microsoft IT India, one on Aravind IBM and their financial models, Kolkata Facilities Management, which are going to hear about today, which is being launched. Also, there are cases on analytics companies like Unicom, on Indian Railways, public sector organization, Tata Air Asia, and some are fictitious cases like Arbor Consulting and Bank of Dastan, which capture very important concepts that we want our students to learn in class. One thing I would like to say about our cases is that we are getting a mix of field cases where we actually interview people and get to know from them what problems they face, how they handle those problems, and we try to bring that to the classroom. There is also a section of cases which are secondary or library cases where we get most of the material from the web. These are usually companies that we have gone through some things that they may not be willing to share. So we gather this knowledge from the external places. So the cases that are marked in green and are the ones which are field cases, and you will see that a large number of our cases are actually field cases because these are really live cases talking about real problems that real people face and talk about how to solve them. The solutions are unknown, but we ask our students to brainstorm and think about how a manager should decide about that. So, we had the opportunity to do a second case study on Microsoft on their culture transformation and various others. Some of them were mentioned by directors like Washington, Brazil. We have also lined up cases with Amazon India in the retail business, Indigo Airlines, Caterpillar India on the manufacturing business, Ramco Cements on analytics and big data, Tech Mahindra on their human resource management, Mitra Energy, a very interesting Indian startup that is listed in the London Stock Exchange and does a lot of interesting work in the sector, renewable energy, Tata Mechanics Limited, Greenfield Software, A2C Apps, which are some startups in the technology domain, Latenview Analytics, which has a very big representation from IIM Capital in their C-suite, and they have agreed to talk about some of the current problems faced in the analytics industry. Plus, there are few cases of Motorola India in the budget smartphone market, Indian steel industry and the problem it faces with respect to sourcing raw materials, Satyam and the problems that it faces with respect to corporate governance, and SoftBank, which is a unique case study which incorporates not only a case study which is written material but also a software together with it, which the students can actually take in class and make some decisions about certain aspects of project management. So there are more that are in process of discussion with various companies. I did not list all of them. In addition to writing of the case studies, we also run workshops. So the first time the case center came into place, we did the first case method workshop. This was done in June of 2012, and it was usually invite one of the leading teachers of case methodology to come and talk to us, teach us about how to write cases, how to teach with cases. So it was led by Professor T. Marsnine, who is Emeritus Professor of Facilities Management, IB Business School, and the world knows him as one of the real big champions of case teaching. And he has been doing this for the last 30, 40 years all over the world. So he was kind enough to come here while he was on a visit to Singapore to lead a workshop on case teaching and case writing. Our next workshop was in February of 2014. This was led by Professor of Singapore Management University. He is the dean of their postgraduate professional programs, and this was also a very well-received workshop which taught us many interesting concepts about case teaching, case writing, and also case research. We also have a workshop coming up, which is the third case workshop in November of 2014. This is going to take place around the end of this month, and it will be led by Professor David Shah, who is Associate Professor of Management, Accounting and Control, IB Business School. I'm very happy to share that although this workshop is scheduled to be in November, we had asked for registrations, and by around mid-September, we had to close registration because of the great interest about this workshop that we are organizing with IB Business School. So our stakeholders are at least a quarter of IMC faculty members are involved in various case projects that are in different stages of writing. Some we are in the process of discussion, some we are doing interviews, some we are writing, some are under review. We do a very strict reviewing process by the external community. So different cases are in different stages involving 25% plus of our faculty members at all levels, from junior to mid-rank to senior professors. Doctoral students are also highly encouraged to become case writers. Some of them have already done it. More are actually shown interest, and we also have made it easy for them to take part in case writing after they have completed their comprehensive qualifying exam. We have and we continue to recruit new and experienced case writers from all over India and also abroad for taking part in case writing in different areas of management. And we are also involving alumni in these activities. Some of our alumni have given us leads for different case studies. Some have acted as case supervisors. Some are taking part in the writing of the cases and similar things. So we are getting a lot of support from our alumni, and thanks to both our director and our team and IDR, this has been possible, and I think it is also strengthening our ties with our alumni at the same time. Some of the achievements in this, 2.5 years, if you say, of our journey, we had a partnership with IB Business School, and in March 2014, under this partnership, our cases can be actually co-branded by the IB Business School, and they can appear on IB's website along with our website. There is also the opportunity for co-writing cases with IB faculty members, which we are also exploring. Also, intend to extend this to research on various projects with IB faculty. We also were able to release the case study on Microsoft IB India in a public event that was jointly organized by IIM Calcutta and Bengal Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and Minister of IT, the then Minister of IT of the state, Honorable Minister Badal Chatterjee inaugurated or launched this case study. And after that, later this year, in September of 2014, we did the launch of a case study on Doctors for You, which is a very interesting startup company, which actually got a lot of support from IIM Calcutta for their innovation process, and which has been doing phenomenal work in humanitarian disaster relief by sending teams of doctors all over India whenever disaster strikes. And their work during Uttarakhand disaster has been captured in this case study, and it also covers an important aspect of social entrepreneurship. So these are basically some of the achievements of the case Research Center, we want to become a repository for really high quality cases which are India focused and which can tell the world all the nice, different and unique things that are happening in India, both in the corporate sector as well as in the social sector. We are preparing to apply for partnership with Harvard Business School Publishing. Harvard Business School, as you know, has very high standards, and we are trying to meet those standards and give them a bouquet of cases to review, so that the partnership can take place. Our goal is to involve more and more IMC faculty members, alumni, students in the case writing activities. All our faculty members, most of them definitely take part in case teaching. But currently we have a quarter, we definitely have the goals to increase that number to about half of our faculty members. But we also want to kind of emphasize that IMC's strength has been the quantitative domain. So not all courses will see cases, and I think we appreciate that there will be some courses which will use cases and some which won't. Also, I think one of our mandates is to spread awareness about case teaching, case writing, and also extending case teaching and case writing to case-based research, which could find its way to top-tier journals. Not only our faculty members, but also faculty members from other business schools in India. And we see a lot of participation in these workshops from many different business schools, because unfortunately in India, the case writing, although it is, the case teaching is very well appreciated, but case writing has not been such a popular activity so far. But we are trying to kind of encourage more people to take part in this, partner with us, and to write our case studies. So I thought I'd share this with this august audience about some of the activities, and I would really want to thank Remedial Trust Foundation, Mr. Nigel Akkara, and also Professor Nashati for giving us this opportunity to do this case study on Kolkata Facilities Management that would get here. Okay, and having said that, I would like to invite Mr. Nigel Akkara, Professor Daswani, Professor Banerjee, Director Professor Badal, Professor Ashok Banerjee to be on stage for the case launch, and Professor Rick Gordon. Now officially launched.
The disproportionate presence of members of the scheduled castes and scheduled tribes and Muslims among other tribes points not simply to a technical breakdown, but also to the increased vulnerability of those groups and probably bias. There are elements of particularism, chaos, violations, fear, and disorder that Kafka has drawn our attention to. These are all necessary for us to understand KFM. Kafka's objective in writing such an account was not necessarily to paint a picture of pessimism. Instead, by discussing these issues, Kafka wanted to change the world. He wanted to create a certain level of awareness about these things. In that spirit, the objective of bringing Kafka to KFM and to my talk today is not to necessarily paint a dark picture. My objective is that by casting in high relief, we become aware of it. And by becoming aware of it, we take a small, tiny step towards making a change. It is this idea of making a change, however small it might be, that impels Nigel and KFM. It is an attempt to create a world in which we don't let ex-convicts slide back into the world of crime. It is a world in which we allow people who made mistakes in the past to reform. A world in which we as a society compensate for our institutional excesses and failures that can lead to horribly unfair and unjust outcomes. This case study is a small tribute to that world. Thank you very much.
Management, Mr. Badal Saha and Mr. Santosh Chaurasia. They were managers of Kolkata Facilities Management.
Kolkata Facilities Management এর মেইন উদ্দেশ্য এক্সপ্রেশনারদের নিয়ে কাজ করা। অর্থাৎ একটা প্ল্যাটফর্ম তৈরি করতে চায়। কলকাতা ফ্যাসিলিটিস ম্যানেজমেন্টের শুরু যার হাত ধরে তিনি আমাদের কর্ণধার, আমাদের প্রোপাইটার মিস্টার নাইজেল আক্কারা। এই অর্গানাইজেশনের শুরু তার ভাবনা থেকে। এই ভাবনা এই জন্য যে একজন এক্স প্রিজনার যখন বাইরে আসে তার সব থেকে জরুরি দরকার একটা কাজ, একটা চাকরি। আমাদের প্রোপাইটার নিজের জীবন থেকে এটা উপলব্ধি করেছেন যে একজন এক্স প্রিজনারের বাইরে এসে কাজ পাওয়া কতটা কঠিন। তার যদি শিক্ষাগত যোগ্যতা কম থাকে কিংবা তার যদি শিক্ষাগত যোগ্যতা নাই থাকে তাহলে তো আরো কঠিন। আমাদের প্রোপাইটার তাই ডিসিশন নিলেন একটা কোম্পানি তৈরি করবেন, একটা অর্গানাইজেশন তৈরি করবেন, একটা প্ল্যাটফর্ম তৈরি করবেন যেখানে মেইনলি মূলত এক্স প্রিজনাররাই কাজ করবেন। যারা কাজ করবেন, যারা নিজেদেরকে প্রমাণ করতে চান, যারা নিজেদেরকে সমাজের বুকে আবার মাথা উঁচু করে প্রতিষ্ঠা করতে চান, তারাই এই প্রতিষ্ঠানে কাজ করবেন। এই উদ্দেশ্য নিয়ে 2010-এর প্রথম দিকে অর্থাৎ জানুয়ারি-ফেব্রুয়ারি থেকে বিভিন্ন এলাকা থেকে বিভিন্ন লোকজন কালেক্ট করা শুরু করলেন। তাদেরকে মেইনলি হাউসকিপিং এবং ক্লিনিং এর উপর ট্রেনিং দেওয়া শুরু করলেন। যদিও আমাদের কলকাতা ফ্যাসিলিটিস ম্যানেজমেন্ট রেজিস্টার হয় 2010-এর জুলাই মাসে। রেজিস্টারের সময় আমাদের শুধুমাত্র 3 জন স্টাফ অবশিষ্ট থাকে, কেননা বিভিন্ন জায়গা থেকে লোক কালেক্ট করা, অনেক লোক আসার পরেও তাদের ট্রেনিং হওয়ার পরেও যেহেতু আমরা কোনো কাজ পাইনি তাই ম্যাক্সিমাম লোক কোম্পানি ছাড়ে। রেজিস্টারের সময় শুধুমাত্র 3 জন লোক নিয়ে আমাদের কোম্পানি রেজিস্টার হয়। কোম্পানি রেজিস্ট্রেশন তো হলো কিন্তু কাজ করব কে বা আমাদের কাজ দেবে, কোথায় বা আমরা কাজ পাব? কারণ আমাদের কাজ পাওয়ার ক্ষেত্রে সব থেকে বড় প্রবলেম যেটা হলো আমাদের পরিচিতি, আমাদের পূর্ব পরিচিতি। আমরা কোনো না কোনো সময় প্রিজনার ছিলাম, তাই আমাদের কাজের ক্ষেত্রে একটা বড় সমস্যা হয়ে যায়। এই অবস্থায় আমরা ফার্স্ট ওয়ান টাইম ট্রেনিং পাই মিস্টার বিডি শর্মা ADGP, IG, Correctional Services Bengal তৎকালে আমরা তার বাবদে প্রথম ওয়ার্ড ট্রেনিংয়ের কাজ পাই। তারপর আমরা হাউসকিপিং স্টাফ প্রোভাইড করতে থাকি, তারপরে আমরা সিকিউরিটি গার্ড বিভিন্ন জায়গায় প্রোভাইড করতে থাকি। অর্থাৎ আমরা সবার মাধ্যম দিয়ে, সবার সঙ্গে নিয়ে আমরা চলতে শুরু করলাম, আমরা বাড়তে শুরু করলাম, আমরা বড় হতে শুরু করলাম। তো দেখা যায় আমরা এরকম ভাবে আমাদের স্টাফ স্ট্যান্ড বাড়তে শুরু করলাম। 2010-11 সালে যখন আমাদের রেজিস্ট্রেশন হয় তখন শুধুমাত্র 3 জন স্টাফ থাকার পর 2010-11 অর্থবর্ষে আমরা আমাদের স্টাফ সংখ্যা দাঁড়ায় 22 জন। 2011-12 অর্থবর্ষে আমাদের স্টাফ সংখ্যা দাঁড়ায় 36 জন। 2012-13 অর্থবর্ষে আমাদের কর্মী সংখ্যা 7 জন এবং 2013-14 অর্থবর্ষে আমরা প্রায় দ্বিগুণ স্টাফে পৌঁছাই, আমাদের সদস্য সংখ্যা, কর্মী সংখ্যা হয় 120 জন। আমাদের সিকিউরিটি গার্ড আমাদের একটা পার্ট, আমরা যা সাপ্লাই করে থাকি। আমাদের কর্ম, আমাদের স্টাফদের কার্য যাতে খুব ভালো হয়, তারা প্রমাণ করতে পারে যে তারা উন্নত কাজ করে, আমরা উন্নত পরিষেবা দিতে পারি, তাই আমাদের সিকিউরিটি গার্ডের ট্রেনিং এর ব্যবস্থা করা হয়। যিনি আমাদের সিকিউরিটি গার্ডের ট্রেনিং দেন তিনি মিস্টার বেণুগোপাল ঘোষ, অ্যাসিস্ট্যান্ট ডিরেক্টর সেন্ট্রাল ইন্টেলিজেন্স ব্যুরো এক্স, ন্যাশনাল ইন্সপেক্টর ডিজাস্টার ম্যানেজমেন্ট, গভর্নমেন্ট অফ ইন্ডিয়া। মিস্টার বেণুগোপাল ঘোষ আমাদের সিকিউরিটি গার্ডের ট্রেনিং এর ব্যবস্থা করে থাকেন। তার এই ট্রেনিং ইনস্টিটিউট হলো খড়দা। মিস্টার বেণুগোপাল ঘোষ আমাদের কোম্পানির মেইন ট্রেনিং ইনস্ট্রাক্টর এবং অ্যাডভাইজার। আমাদের সিকিউরিটি গার্ডরা ট্রেনিং পায় 3টে উপায়: আউটডোর বা ফিল্ড সেকশন, ক্লাসরুম সেকশন এবং প্র্যাকটিক্যাল সেকশন। প্র্যাকটিক্যাল সেকশনের মধ্যে ফিজিক্যাল ফিটনেস, অ্যালার্টনেস, ফায়ার ড্রাগস, ক্রাউড কন্ট্রোল, সার্চিং ফিজিক্যালি, সার্চিং নন ফিজিক্যালি। কিছু কিছু লোকের ক্ষেত্রে আমরা টাচ করে সার্চিং করতে পারি না, সেই ক্ষেত্রে আমাদের সিকিউরিটি গার্ডরা এটা শিক্ষা গ্রহণ করে থাকে যাতে না কাজ করে কিভাবে তারা তাকে সার্চিং করতে পারে, চার্জ করতে পারে। ক্লাসরুম সেকশনে আমাদের সিকিউরিটি গার্ডরা যা যা ট্রেনিং পেয়ে থাকে সেটা হচ্ছে কমন সেন্স, ডিসিপ্লিন, ফায়ার ড্রাগস, সিকিউরিটি পয়েন্টস, ড্রেস সেন্স, স্ক্রুটিনি অফ ডকুমেন্টস, ফার্স্ট এইড, ক্রাইসিস রেসপন্স, ইকুইপমেন্ট কন্ট্রোল, লিগ্যাল রাইটস এন্ড ডিউটিস। আমাদের সোলজার, আমাদের আর্মি, সবার চোখের সামনে আমাদের সিকিউরিটি গার্ড, তাদের কয়েকজনের ছবি। আমরা এই মুহূর্তে যে যে জায়গায় আমাদের সিকিউরিটি গার্ড, আমাদের স্টাফ রয়েছে: অঞ্জলি জুয়েলার্স প্রাইভেট লিমিটেড, অঞ্জলি স্টেট অ্যান্ড ডেভেলপার্স, ননি বাসেরা গেস্ট হাউস, এজো হলমার্টি, ভিক্টর এন্ড মোজেস ইউনাইটেড ইনভেস্টমেন্ট কোম্পানি, আরফিস নরেন্দ্রপুর, ইনফো ইউনিভি প্রাইভেট লিমিটেড, ইন্দ্রা গেস্ট হাউস, হোটেল ইন্দ্রা গেস্ট হাউস বৌবাজার, ডেকো কমিউনিটি ব্রোকার্স এন্ড প্রাইভেট লিমিটেড, অ্যাড এপিটি শাড়ি প্রিন্টিং নরেন্দ্রপুর। আমরা শুধুমাত্র যে আমাদের সিকিউরিটি গার্ডদের ট্রেনিং এর ব্যবস্থা করে থাকি তা নয়, আমরা আমাদের হাউসকিপিং স্টাফদেরকে উত্তম রূপে ট্রেনিং এর ব্যবস্থা করে থাকি। আমাদের হাউসকিপিংদেরকে ট্রেনিং দেয় বিভিন্ন দামি কোম্পানি লাইক কাস্টি, জনসন এন্ড ডাইভার্সি। এই কোম্পানিগুলোর প্রশিক্ষিত ফ্যাকাল্টিগুলো এসে আমাদের হাউসকিপিংদের ট্রেনিং দেয়। তারা বিভিন্ন রকম কেমিক্যালস এর উপর ট্রেনিং দেয়, যেমন R1, R2, R6, R5, TR101। শুধু তাই নয়, আমাদের হাউসকিপিং স্টাফেরা এই পর্যায়েও ট্রেনিং পেয়ে থাকে যে কোথাও যদি অ্যাসিড ইউজ করতে হয়, যদি প্রয়োজন হয় অ্যাসিড ইউজ করা, তাহলে কতটা অ্যাসিড ইউজ করবে, তার পরিমাণ কি হবে, কতটা জলের সঙ্গে মিশালে একটা ফ্লোরকে নষ্ট করবে না, সেই ট্রেনিংটাও ওই ফ্যাকাল্টির কাছ থেকে পেয়ে থাকে। এই ছাড়াও ওরা বিভিন্ন রকম মেশিনারিজ, যেমন ভ্যাকুয়াম ক্লিনার, ওয়াইপিং মেশিন, স্ক্রাইবিং মেশিন ইত্যাদির উপরও তারা ট্রেনিং পেয়ে থাকে। শুধু তাই নয়, একটা মপ, একটা ডাস্টার এরকম ভাবে ইউজ করলে সত্যিকারের পরিষ্কার হবে, ক্লিন হবে, সেটাও ওরা পেয়ে থাকে। এরা হলো আমাদের একটা পার্ট, হাউসকিপিং স্টাফের কিছু ছবি, তাদের র্যাঙ্ক অনুসারে বিভিন্ন ইউনিফর্ম। আমাদের হাউসকিপিং স্টাফ যেখানে যেখানে এই মুহূর্তে রয়েছে রিজিওনাল মিনিস্টার অফ কারেকশনাল অ্যাডমিনিস্ট্রেশন, সংক্ষেপে রিকা দপ্তর, আরফিড অ্যাট নরেন্দ্রপুর, ইউনাইটেড ইনভেস্টমেন্ট কোম্পানি লিমিটেড, রবীন্দ্রনাথ ট্যাগর কারিয়াটি সায়েন্স, এটা লেসডাউনে মল্লিক গেস্ট হাউস, ইলেকট্রিক ইন্ডিয়া প্রাইভেট লিমিটেড, মাইক্রোসেক ক্যাপিটাল লিমিটেড, টাইটাল শোরুম, Samsonite showroom, One Lovelock Place, Hotel Malbori, Info Invi Private Limited, Sima Gallery, Division of AVP, Badal Media Network Private Limited, এটা আনন্দবাজার পত্রিকার একটা ডিভিশন, অঞ্জলি জুয়েলার্স এবং অঞ্জলি জুয়েলার্সের আরো চারটি সিস্টার কনসার্ন লাইক অঞ্জলি জুয়েলার্স প্রাইভেট লিমিটেড, অঞ্জলি আলমার্টিং সেন্টার, অঞ্জলি স্টার অ্যান্ড ডেভেলপার্স এবং নমি, এগুলোতে আমাদের হাউসকিপিং রয়েছে। পারফেক্ট মুভি টাউন, ইউনিভার্সিটি অফ কলকাতা বালিগঞ্জ সায়েন্স কলেজ, এখানে বছরে প্রত্যেক বছরে কন্ট্রাক্ট বেসিসে, এই বছরও আছে আমাদের কন্ট্রাক্ট বেসিসে ওয়ান টাইম ট্রেনিং হয়ে থাকে বছরে অন্তত 3 থেকে 4। হেমিটেক ইনস্ট্রুমেন্ট প্রাইভেট লিমিটেড, প্রত্যেকটা কোম্পানি মেইন দাঁড়িয়ে থেকে জানবো ফিনান্সিয়াল কন্ডিশন। আমরা আমাদের ইয়ারলি টার্নওভার একটু আপনাদের সামনে তুলে ধরার চেষ্টা করছি। যখন আমাদের কোম্পানি শুরু হয়েছে, অর্থাৎ 2010-11 অর্থবর্ষে আমাদের টার্নওভার ছিল মাত্র 2 লাখ টাকা। আমরা 11-12 অর্থবর্ষে আমাদের টার্নওভার পৌঁছায় 22 লাখের কাছাকাছি। 2012-13 অর্থবর্ষে আমাদের টার্নওভার পৌঁছায় প্রায় 41 লাখ। 2013-14 অর্থবর্ষে আমরা প্রায় দ্বিগুণ টার্নওভারে পৌঁছে যাই, কাছাকাছি 80 লাখ। এবং আমরা বলতে চাই যে আমরা চেষ্টা করছি 2014-15 অর্থবর্ষে আমরা 1.5 কোটি টাকার টার্নওভারে পৌঁছানোর লক্ষ্যমাত্রা স্থির করেছি। আপনাদের আশীর্বাদ, আপনাদের সহযোগিতা আমরা যেভাবে পেয়েছি, আমরা সেভাবে পাবো এই আশা রেখে আমরা কিছু ফিউচার প্ল্যানিং করেছি। আমরা কিছু সিদ্ধান্ত গ্রহণ করার চেষ্টা করছি। প্রথমত, আমাদের কলকাতা ফ্যাসিলিটিস ম্যানেজমেন্টকে আমরা প্রোপ্রাইটারশিপ কোম্পানি থেকে প্রাইভেট লিমিটেড কোম্পানিতে ট্রান্সফার করছি। এখানে তারাই ম্যানেজিং ডিরেক্টর হবেন যারা কোম্পানির সঙ্গে বিভিন্ন দিন যুক্ত আছেন, বিভিন্ন রকম ভাবে কোম্পানির সঙ্গে আছেন, অর্থাৎ কোম্পানির স্টাফ কলিগরা, তারা ম্যানেজিং ডিরেক্টরের পদ গ্রহণ করবে। আমরা ভিকটিমদের জন্য কাজ করতে চাই। ভিকটিমস মানে আমরা শুধুমাত্র এই ভিকটিমসের জন্য কাজ করছি তাই নয়, যে যাদের দ্বারা প্রিজনারদের দ্বারা যারা ভিকটিমস হয়েছেন তাদের জন্য নয়, তাদের সঙ্গে আমরা তাদের জন্য কাজ করতে চাই বিভিন্ন প্রাকৃতিক দুর্যোগের জন্য যারা ভিকটিমস হয়েছেন, যারা ফিজিক্যালি চ্যালেঞ্জ, যারা যারা সমাজের জন্য, সমাজের বিভিন্ন কারণের জন্য বিভিন্ন উপায়ে ভিকটিমস হয়েছে, আমরা তাদের জন্য কাজ করতে চাই। আমরা তাদের জন্য কাজ করতে চাই যে হাজব্যান্ড মদ খেয়ে তার ওয়াইফের জন্য ক্ষতিকারক, যে ওয়াইফ তার সমাজে দাঁড়ানোর জন্য তিনি একজন ভিকটিমস, আমরা তার জন্য কাজ করতে চাই। আমরা একটা লন্ড্রি সার্ভিসেস শুরু করতে চাইছি। আমরা একটা লিঙ্ক বিজনেস করতে চাইছি বিভিন্ন স্টেটের এক্স প্রিজনারদের দ্বারা। আমাদের প্রোভাইডার কেরালা জেলের এই মুহূর্তে ব্র্যান্ড অ্যাম্বাসেডর। তো আমরা ফার্স্ট বিজনেস শুরু করতে চাইছি ওয়েস্ট বেঙ্গলের এক্স প্রিজনাররা সঙ্গে কেরালার এক্স প্রিজনার যারা আছে তাদের মধ্যে একটা লিঙ্ক বিজনেস, যে বিজনেস আমরা পরবর্তীতে বিভিন্ন স্টেটের এক্স প্রিজনারদের মধ্যে ছড়িয়ে দিতে চেষ্টা করব। এটা আমাদের উদ্দেশ্য। আমরা শুধুমাত্র বিজনেস করছি তাই নয়, আমরা চেষ্টা করছি সমাজের জন্য সামান্য কিছু আমাদের থেকে দিতে। আমরা চেষ্টা করছি সমাজের জন্য সামান্যতম হলো তাদের পাশে দাঁড়াতে। টাচওয়ার্ড একটা এনজিও রয়েছে, তারা এক্স প্রিজনারদের সন্তানদের স্কুলে পড়াশোনার ব্যবস্থা করিয়ে থাকে। তাদের মধ্যে একজনের সারা বছরের খাওয়া, পড়াশোনা, থাকা ব্যবস্থা আমাদের কোম্পানি করে থাকে। যে পড়াশোনা করছে ডন বস্কো স্কুল মণিগ্রাম, সেখানকার হোস্টেলে সে থাকে, পড়াশোনা করে, আমরা তার সারা বছরের ব্যয় বহন করে থাকি। ব্লাড ডোনেশন না, আমরা কোনো ব্লাড ডোনেশন ক্যাম্প করি, আমরা এরকম ভাবে ব্লাড ডোনেশন করছি। বেলিয়াঘাটাতে একটা থ্যালাসেমিয়া ব্লাড ব্যাংক হয়েছে, যাদের যখন রক্ত সংকট চলে তখন আমরা ইনক্লুডিং আমাদের প্রোভাইডার আমরা ব্লাড ডোনেশন করে থাকি ওদের ব্লাড ব্যাংকে গিয়ে। এই বছর আমাদের 18 জন স্টাফ ব্লাড ডোনেশন আই ডোনেশন করেছে, মরণোত্তর চক্ষুদান করেছে। আমরা এক্স প্রিজনারদের রিহ্যাবিলিটেশনের চেষ্টা করি, বলা যেতে পারে 45 জন। এই কারণে বললাম খুব রিসেন্ট আমাদের একজন জয়েন করেছে খুব কদিনের আগে। তাই 45 জন এক্স প্রিজনার আমাদের কোম্পানির মাধ্যমে রিহ্যাবিলিটেশন পেয়েছে। তার মধ্যে এই মুহূর্তে আমাদের সঙ্গে 25 জন আছে, অর্থাৎ আমাদের এখনো 25 জন আমাদের স্টাফ। বাকি যে লোকগুলো তারা আমাদের কোম্পানির মাধ্যমে শুরুয়াত করে হয় কখনো নিজস্ব ব্যবসা শুরু করেছে, কেউ সিভিল পুলিশে চাকরি নিয়েছে, এমনকি রেল পুলিশও চাকরি নিয়েছে। তাই 45 জন এক্স প্রিজনারকে রিহ্যাবিলিটেশন করার গর্ব আমরা আশা করতেই পারি। আমরা বিভিন্ন স্কুল, কলেজ এবং সমাজের বিভিন্ন পার্ট অ্যাওয়ারনেস প্রোগ্রাম করে থাকি। অ্যান্টি-ড্রাগ প্রোগ্রামের আমাদের প্রোভাইডার ব্র্যান্ড অ্যাম্বাসেডর, যেটা শ্রেয় ফাউন্ডেশন এবং বিধাননগর কমিশনারের মাধ্যমে চলে। আমরা সেখানে আমাদের কোম্পানির তরফ থেকে আমাদের প্রোভাইডার উনি পার্টিসিপেট করেন, উনি নিজে ব্র্যান্ড অ্যাম্বাসেডর। সোনাটা ফাউন্ডেশন রাজাঘাট, ওখানে বিভিন্ন গরু, কুকুর যেগুলো রাস্তায় অ্যাক্সিডেন্ট হয় তাদের উদ্ধারে, তাদের ব্যবস্থার কাজ করে থাকে। আমরা সোনাটা ফাউন্ডেশনের সঙ্গে যুক্ত আছি। আমাদের পথ চলা, আমাদের শুরু, আমাদের এগিয়ে নিয়ে বিভিন্ন রকম ভাবে যারা সাহায্য করেছে তারা আমাদের মিডিয়া বন্ধুরা। আমি তাদেরকে অসংখ্য ধন্যবাদ জানাই। তারা আমাদের প্রোভাইডারে বিভিন্ন রকম ভাবে ইন্টারভিউ ছাপিয়ে, বিভিন্ন রকম ভাবে প্রচার করে আমাদের চলার পথ আরো সুগম করেছেন। উদাহরণস্বরূপ বলা যেতে পারে, একটা পত্রিকার মাধ্যমেই আমি এই কোম্পানির খবর পাই এবং আমি যোগাযোগ করি। আমি নিজে এভাবেই এসেছি। তো সো মেনি থ্যাঙ্কস মিডিয়া বন্ধুদের, ইলেকট্রনিক্স মিডিয়া বা প্রিন্ট মিডিয়া বন্ধুদের। এটা একটা মিডিয়াম রাত যেটা এই মুহূর্তে দুবাইতে প্রচার হয়েছে আমাদের কোম্পানি। আমরা ধন্যবাদ জানাই মিস্টার বিডি শর্মাকে, যিনি আমাদের প্রথম ওয়ান টাইম ক্লিনিং এর কাজ দিয়ে আমাদের পথ চলাটা সুগম করে দিয়েছিলেন। আমরা ধন্যবাদ জানাই প্রফেসর শৈবাল চট্টোপাধ্যায়কে, যিনি প্রথম দিন আমাদের আইআইএম কলকাতাতে আমাদের সঙ্গে কথা বলে এই প্রোগ্রামটা শুরু করেছিলেন। আমার ধন্যবাদ জানাই প্রফেসর রোহিত বর্মন এবং ডাক্তার বিশ্বতোষ সাহাকে, যারা অক্লান্ত পরিশ্রম করে আমাদের এই কেস স্টাডি আজকের দিন পর্যন্ত নিয়ে এসেছেন। আমরা সকলকে ধন্যবাদ জানাই, অনেককে যাদের নাম হয়তো আমি জানি না, হয়তো জানি, হয়তো সময়ের অভাবে বলা হলো না, তাদের সবাইকে ধন্যবাদ জানাই। কিন্তু আর একটা নাম যদি আজকে দিন আমি উচ্চারণ না করি তাহলে আমার মনে হয় অসম্পূর্ণতা থেকে যাবে। তিনি প্রফেসর ভাস্বতী গাঙ্গুলি, যাকে অসংখ্য ধন্যবাদ আমাদের এই প্ল্যাটফর্ম দেওয়ার জন্য। সন্তোষ চৌরাশি।
Ladies and gentlemen, Badal has spoken so much I don't know what to talk. When I was in prison for my faults, I underwent a sentence, and after the sentence, when I was released from prison, I thought that I have already been sentenced, or maybe I had been in jail for my faults, and after coming out, I should be given the opportunity to live like any other normal citizen and not punished twice for the same offense. Taking that in mind, and at the same time, I had a fight with my mom, you could say, with my family members who wanted me to leave the city. So, and live a normal life somewhere else. I told my mom that if the people here in Calcutta thought that I was wrong, then how can I go somewhere else and prove that I'm right? I need to stay here and prove that, I've changed. Or maybe I want to live a different life. So I stayed back. In the beginning, I started working for an organization called Kashwar, where I used to work with an administrative officer. I was paid a salary of 4,500, along with 500 rupees conveyance. And I really don't know how to, with 5,000 rupees, how to run 30 days. Because my expenses before was near about 2 lakhs a month. So the first month, my money got over 15 days or 20 days or so. And I also didn't have the habit of, begging or asking somebody. And I couldn't also get back to the people I knew before and tell them that you helped me because I'm in trouble. But, I started thinking of a different way how I live so that I can lead a life with that money for 30 days. So from second month onwards, I started having meals once a day at 11 in the morning. I never used to stay in my house because there was some problem from the administration, there was some problem from the people I knew before, because of which if I went to my house and started living there, I could have fallen into trouble in time. So I was living in a rented place where I learned a new technique of living 30 days with 5,000 rupees. I had to pay rent. I had to pay for my conveyance. I started walking more. And in the buses in Calcutta, there's a system that you get up for one stop in the bus, or you hang and go for one stop. You don't need to pay the fare. So I started applying that in my daily life. And at the same time, like wherever I used to go for my work or the dance class, I used to take care of the dance class. And anybody used to feed me anything I used to eat. So that is the way I started. And in between, towards the end of the month, I used to tell my mom that, Mommy, I'm missing you a lot. I'm coming home Sunday. So Sunday afternoon, she used to work, so she used to be at home. So going home on Sunday afternoon is also, I have my lunch there. I started like this. After 7 months, I thought that, how long will I survive like this? And at the same time, this particular NGO, which is giving me this job, were, doing it out of pity, where someone had sponsored my salary and they were paying me my salary, And now after 7 months, they will look for someone else who will sponsor the salary and they will again pay me. And as such, it was a new NGO, so there was no job as such. Okay, I had to do little work, sending some mail or reaching some parcel somewhere and all. I decided that I will resign from the job and I will look for a job somewhere else. So I gave a resignation letter and I told them that, since I got my first shelter here, so I'm going to be associated with that work as long as I live. But I don't want to work here with a salary and be pretty unhappy. So I went to different organizations. I gave them my biodata where I was mentioned that I was in prison for 9 years. I need an opportunity, I will not let it down. But nobody gave me that opportunity. And there was no other organization who was also working, who were working for ex-prisoners at that time. There are many ex-prisoners I know who have come out, maybe they are into building material supply business, most of them come and do nowadays. But there is no business that, take employees for ex-prisoners. So I talked with my brother, I told him that I need a little bit of funding. I want to start a business of my own. I took a loan and started business. I thought it happened that I had gone for an interview to one place, and after the interview when I was sitting out there, I saw some people roaming the street. With those big thalus, they were roaming the street. So I saw and I thought that the best thing I can do is clean. Where, I go to an office and I have to stay there for 8 hours, 9 hours, 10 hours, people have to tolerate me for that time and think that maybe, this guy is a thief, he might steal, keep an eye on him. So the better option is I can go and clean their toilets, clean their office, and maybe for half an hour, 45 minutes, and go. So I thought of that, and I started this company. I did not think of security guards at that time because according to the security acts, there are many rules which my company doesn't suit those rules because you cannot be a person convicted for any offense who will be given a license to run a security organization. This is not done. But Home Department has given me a license only because of the publicity of the bills and all. They could not reject the license because I showed them a clause that if I'm convicted for a case, but my case has been acquitted, so actually I'm not an offender. I might have been in prison, but I'm not an offender. So for this reason, you cannot cancel my license. And if you do so, then I'll have to go somewhere else. So that's how they had given me a temporary license, and I'm still running the company under license. But my target was 5 years. Because anywhere we go, even the license of any security company that lasts for 5 years and then you could renew. So after 5 years, I want to change this security services and do something else. That is where the laundry services or anything else that you, Mr. Badal Saha was telling you, is coming. So I started this company. In the beginning, I used to go for different interactions. There's a documentary called The Jail, which would be shown in different schools and colleges, and we would interact. I used to do it with Dutch word. We used to interact, and the students used to ask a lot of questions. Only to tell us like the tobacco and the cigarette package is injurious to health, so that if someone sees and know the result, whatever the results are going to be, and stop indulging in such affairs. Which I also did that mistake when I was in maybe 9th, 10th, 12th. So we used to do these, conduct these different seminars in different places. And from there, different people used to give me the visiting card and tell me, you come to my office, you come to my house, you can do the cleaning there. And I used to go to their residence and to their bungalows and their offices. And I used to tell them, sir, you call me and I come. I used to call them and go. Then they used to allow me to clean their pathways. They used to allow me to clean their, maybe the door outside or the staircase. But not let me come into the house. So that is when I started going to people and or maybe they used to tell me that who go to see, who go to be behind you when you're cleaning my house. If something was missing. That is when I started telling them you have an option, you lock me up in your toilet, me and one staff. But I used to do the cleaning myself at that time. Lock me up in a toilet, at the max if something goes, it's a bottle of shampoo or maybe a soap or something, my bill will be much more than that. Because what we actually do is professional cleaning, where it depends on the package, the amount paid to us. So where we can give cleaning machinery, we can give different type of chemicals that we use, which he was telling me, Johnson diversity and Lasky one and all that. So my bill will be more than that. So you can reduce that amount from my bill. So I started toiletry, a lot of toiletry, and then slowly the business increased. My films came. It was a big support. And today, Kolkata Facilities Management is good to see. Like I have a lot of people to thank for this, especially around the world. Because first time when I had come on stage and performed in a dance drama, and I got that applause from people, I realized that for everything good you do, you might get good things in return. But the day I went to the prison, I thought I don't have any other life except being a criminal, being a prisoner, because nobody will identify me as anything else. But the day I got that applause on stage, as a performer, I thought that I can change things. But the only thing I have to keep in mind is I will not give up whatever may be the condition. So that is what I have been doing. And business-wise, I don't know many techniques, but I don't have so much knowledge of different definitions. But I think and I do what is right for my company, what is right for my staff. Today, in the month of January, we will be making it into a private limited company. Till today, whatever is there, like the company was proprietorship firm, where everybody is a contribution. I did do it alone. All of them are a part of this company. But tomorrow, I want to give them the right that they will be working for themselves and not for a proprietor organization. So this is what we dream at and what we proceed at. If any of you have any questions, any of us, you can ask. Because I don't have much to say, and I really thank Sri Santosh Chaurasia because I gave a post on the Facebook that during the puja we want to clean up your house. That is how I got in contact with her. After which we worked with her in our house. We are still working. Actually last month we had a last cleaning in our house. And after which, it is because of her that I came here, met Professor Chaurasia, met Professor Berman, and this case that happened. When I started Kolkata Facilities Management, I did not think that one day I will come here and talking to IIM about my company. So it is a great honor and I'm grateful to all of you for listening. Please do ask if you have anything. Yeah, I have a website, but currently I am not renewing my website because I am changing my business module. I am changing the services I offer. So for this, I mentioned the time, maybe January or February, you will see my website up. And the private thing will also come, so it has to change. The design has to change.
As of now, what is the meeting?
So I had a website till last month.
So there is a number of meetings.
And even the website is on, only thing is that they would change the thing. It will not be Kolkata Facilities Management anymore. It will be Kolkata Facilities Management Private Limited. At the same time, in the website you will find the security guards, bouncers and whatever other services. The services are going to change. Maybe housekeeping and cleaning, which was our initial service which we offered, that will remain. But other services will add up like laundry and mutual security, wherever we have already provided to keep that, but we will not increase on it.
How did you crack the Chili Jewelers contract?
So there was an article in the paper regarding me, my life, and Anjali Jewelers, owner of Anjali Jewelers, we read it, and they called me and told me that you have to supply security guards at Anjali Jewelers. I thought they were joking. So first, because that time, we were having a tough time getting work. So like I said, Anjali Jewelers is such a big brand, how are they going to make me work? So first I didn't go. The first time they called me, I thought it's a joke. So I did not go. Then the second time he called me, I said, seriously sir, this is what we are ex-prisoners, this, that and all that I told him. And he said, no, seriously we won't work. It is after that I went there. So first I started with 2 guards and they told me, according to the services you give us, we will increase the number of hours working. So that is how I got at the individual. And today we have about 60% of our work in the
I don't see any women.
Yeah, there are women employees, and there are only 2 employees working there. Because I can tackle male ex-business more. I can tackle male ex-business more. I'm not so good at tackling. So right now I'm not too much into it, but in our laundry service we'll be using a lot of women.
Even the housekeeping facilities you can.
Housekeeping facility I'm using because R&D board, we work with R&D board. They take only female housekeeping staffs. But controlling women, a lot of women together is no problem. So I'm working on that area. In the laundry services, I will be using a lot of women because it will be under one shade and professional with machinery laundry. So there we will be using a lot of women.
You were thinking of changing from the security services, so now that the investments you've already made in training your people, so don't you think that could go waste if you are going to stop?
It will go waste. I worked for 5 years with this, and I'm not like closing down the security services that I'm giving, but I'm not increasing them. I'm not taking up more contracts. But instead of that, I'll work on housekeeping and all that. I'll keep the number of security guards who are working now. I'll keep them, but maybe I won't take up more security guard jobs.
Is there any specific issue that the express is only the number of working or maybe
No, below 80 we are not working below 80. We are working people above 80 because most of the business expenses I come across are above 80. And I don't work with the juvenile homes. But at the same time, it is not any ex-prisoner I work with. I work with those ex-prisoners who have the will to come back and come back to the mainstream, and they are not getting the opportunity. I don't, we are not reforming anyone. We are working, giving the rehabilitation opportunity to the people who are reformed, and want that opportunity. First of all, when we work with people below 18 years, so we come under Child Labour Act. So we don't. The society should give opportunity, but in the age of 18, I don't think some company will employ them to work.
You know the situation.
Yeah, and if otherwise if they're working somewhere or something, like I don't know about it, I'm not working with it, but maybe sometime.
And that's one thing that is very why is security guards
because as a child, that is because in a jewelry showroom, if the boy stands outside, I tell you in my day, or a thief stands outside and give that guard. He's got that opportunity. Now he doesn't want to let go of that opportunity. But he is very much aware that what the dacoit is going to do if he comes. He is very much aware what a thief is going to come when he comes, what to do. He is very much aware of the body language of the people who are different. So he cannot be aware. Nobody else can be better guard. This is the same, no? That if you think that he's a thief and he might steal, give him the keys. He does not steal. So we do exactly this. And at the same time, I have other people who are normal, who are not ex-business. And when they don't come for work, come to attend their job, okay, so the client doesn't call me and tell me that why that particular person has not come. Because I give replacement. But a person who's an ex-prisoner, and suppose he doesn't come, The client, all the clients, they know we are working with ex-prisoner, but we don't pinpoint that he's an ex-prisoner, he's an ex-prisoner. We don't do that. We don't stigmatize, we don't make him separate. So, when he doesn't come, the client calls and says, I don't know whom you have sent, that boy was so good, where is he? So this happens.
Has your team researched models of other countries and how they have been handled?
We are not, and I don't know, in Calcutta there is no rehabilitation job who anybody else is doing. But I had seen or listened to people who have become entrepreneurs after coming out of prison. That too, a ma'am has given me a prison jobs. I've seen those videos of YouTube. But as such, I have not researched. No, I'm not interested in research, but I'm interested in business.
Like solutions for what other countries are doing, something, some voices will apply.
I can derive something or maybe for the interest of my business. Yes, sir.
Do you have any initiative to spread this service to other districts of West Bengal, or is it only limited to Calcutta?
No, we want to spread it to different other districts also. Like right now, I'm the brand ambassador of prison reforms in Kerala, where I go to the prisons in Kerala. Like here, it is a correctional home, but there it is called jail. Not yet a correctional home. But they're working for the first time with prisoners and their reformation through meditation and yoga and other such things. I go there and there the prisoners are not interested to do these classes and all that. So I go and motivate so that they can do, they come and attend. So this I do that. So I have a plan of working with them. Talks are going on, but it's a huge funding that is required. So maybe Monday.
But I want to know, will you get in touch with prisoners who are on their release plans to make them know that such facilities are there? If they want to utilize, they can just get in touch with them.
Yeah, in Calcutta we do that. But in Kerala, right now, because the business has to start and they don't really let me do that.
But what about other districts if you involved in?
I'm working in other districts, we'll be working in other districts of Bengal with the laundry services. But for the security and housekeeping, we are basically focusing on Kerala. Because for the other districts, you need to have a separate license. So my license is only for Kerala. Yes.
Do you get regular feedback from your staff employees?
Yeah, we get regular feedback from our staff and employees, and more like from the clients also. Everything is not always smooth. There are problems in every business. In our business also there are some problems. So we sort it out.
One quick question. When you are providing this kind of services, is it basically you are going to client's place and you are providing the service there? Maybe security, housekeeping, but when you do the laundry job, you need some space. How are you planning to do that?
I've already purchased a land for it and I'm taking a factory. But it will be like what laundry service will be able to give is for the guest houses, for the nursing homes, where they have a lot of, like every day maybe 50, 100, bed sheets and all that, pillow covers and all. So it's all, you have also tenders for washing. So I have a place there. And at the same time, we are planning it in a different way where we are taking ponds on lease. It costs very less than what in the suburbs. For example, 2,500 or 3,000 for 1 year. So that's how we work.
How do you motivate residents in a very economics to take up the side rather than the life of time?
I tell them that, that today you're sitting there, but if you want, you can walk out and stand there and talk and sit. But for that, you should have one thing in your heart that you won't give up, no matter what comes. And I'm there with you, but you have to keep it within you that will give up. For that, we also do a special type of, vigilance on our staff. For example, if a prisoner comes out and tells me that I need a job, I don't give it to him. Because I've gone through the psychology that he'll be going through. In the beginning, the first 1 month, it's like returning from a hospital, where all the relatives come and meet you. Everybody with whom you are, were associated, they will come and meet you, they will talk to you. Maybe you'll get some pocket money from your aunties and uncles, and maybe your father and mother will take special care of you. The son was not here so many years, so mother will cook puri, luchi, aloo dum and everything and feed you. So that 1 month you'll be pampered. You won't come into contact with any problems or any sort of mental depression. But towards the end of that 1 month, you'll start thinking about an identity. You'll start thinking that, I don't have a voter ID, I don't have a PAN card. Now, wherever you go, you need all these identity proofs. So you'll start thinking about that. At the same time, you will start thinking about getting a job. And at the same time, your relatives, your mom, your dad, and everybody will start telling you that, in our ancestors also have never gone to the prison. You are the first in our family who has gone to the prison. For you, I have to sell my land to bring you out of the prison. You are, because of you, I cannot take up my head in front of others. And they'll keep telling this. And that will start playing. And he'll start looking for a job, he'll start trying positive things. But you get regular, failures if he is a prisoner and the person is going to or connecting to knows that he is a prisoner. So since that regular failure starts, he will start getting into a depression where he can go and contact those people with whom he was related before and start working with them for the sake of the money. Or maybe till the end of 3 months he's still trying. The 4th month when I see that he's still trying and he's not got an opportunity, that is when I give him that opportunity. Because I had the same problem when I came out of the beginning and I saw that with this money I'm not being able to spend my whole month. So many a night I felt that, just I could make one call and my problem would be solved. But I restricted myself. So this happened with me too. So I gave the 3 months to them so that, like on the 4th month I know that mentally, I can take him for work. Mentally he wants to change and come back to the mainstream. The 4th month when I take him for the job, the first month I torture him mentally myself. I gave him, suppose today I gave him duty in Gold Park, the second day I send him to Koilan, the third day I send him to Dum Dum, I keep making him go here. 10th day or 15th day he tells me that, I have no money, how will I go? I cannot travel so much. I said, come to the office, do you take me, come to the office, I'll give you. I call him 10 o'clock in the morning, make him sit, I go at 3 and meet him. I see his reaction, the way he's reacting. I pay him whatever advances he wants. And at the end of this first month, he goes for a training in Digital. Then after the training, I give him a final posting somewhere where he works. So none of my employees have gone back to the world of crime yet. Thank God. And I don't think any of them will go back. Because the thing is that, like if he's getting a salary of 5,000, I don't restrict him to that. With every 3 months, 6 months, I give him an opportunity so that he can improve on his earning. He can improve on his position. Because one of my he's the field supervisor. He started with a salary of 3,500. Today, he is getting 10,000 plus he has a vehicle also. So it's according to his performance that he
I've seen this video about prison workers, like how prisoners work out in favor of working. And we usually associate this with prisoners who should be strong. How was that
James, with the sector will employ how many people? Will employ how many people? So my aim is to employ more and more people. They need work. And if the thing is how much he says that he's reform. How many comes outside and maybe he wears a saffron cloth and tells that I am Omuk Salu or Tomuk Salu. But unless he gets that bread which he needs to eat and that amount of money which he needs for running his family, he will not be able to come back to the mainstream and play problem. So I need to give job. So I can make a But I'll tell you one more thing that from my childhood, I had a dream that I will become an army officer. And so I was very fond of this person, Manager Sri Santosh Chaurasia. When I was in class 8, he had come to my school. I was in 6th grade, and they had given me a photograph. He had given his photograph and some food and all for all the children. So, and I saw that before he came, about 3 hours before, there were all these black tomatoes and all that. They were taking the field for bombs and all that was going on. So I always had this dream, and I stuck this photograph on my almirah. I used to do NCC. I had done these certificate NCC from Fort William. I had one for rifle camps, trekking camp. I had done Entrepreneurship parade. But then the wish of becoming an army officer was never fulfilled. But through Kolkata Facilities Management and through this, you see the training is going on. I'm feeling like a generous man. So I fulfilled my dream. So now I want to do something.
When someone is joining talent management discipline, who is standing on their training? You need to stand
Right.
Yeah.
Kolkata Facilities
Train them
Management.
first.
Yeah.
You have to train them first. So you are standing on their training.
Yeah, please.
And then you are sending them to the class.
Yeah, thank
So
you.
there is an initial investment from your part on
Yeah.
these people. And then you are sending. So suppose they are taking the training and then they are not continuing. Is there any bond or anything? How you can make sure?
No, there is no surety of such that after taking the training that you have to be with my company. You cannot go anywhere else. It happened. There's a company called G4S, Group 4. They have a very good pay and everything because they are an internationally known company. So what happened is all of my staffs were class 12 pass. After 3 months, 4 months, all of them go into Group 4. But wherever we work nearby, you have Group 4 people working. So they come and tell them, you're working, getting paid properly, this and that. Come to our company. Now the thing is, we are getting paid 10,000 from my client, and the basic minimum wages for security guard working 8 hours a day is 6,685. So on that I pay here fraudulent fund, I pay ESI, I pay their bonus and all that, and I can pay them at the max 7,000 or 6,800, not more than that. But these people give them that hope, and then they go there. And they don't have a training facility. What they have is a classroom training facility where everybody on the guards sit and they give an orientation there. That's it. So they join there, and after 6 months, they again come back to my company. Some of them. They come back and they say that, I have a facility in my company that I pay them by the 5th of every month. Whereas all other security companies and these housekeeping facilities management companies, they pay from 10 to 15. Because the guy who will leave the job after getting the salary will be leaving with, like this 15 days or 10 days will be with them. The money will be with them. But I pay them by the 5th, third, maximum 5th. So many people go, but that's not a problem. I cannot stop doing that.
So because in all the training institutes, you always face this problem when we train people and then the market is offering higher price and they are just relying on our investment.
Not higher price, like price-wise we are giving the same price or the same salary. But they have casual leaves, they have medical leaves which Group 4 can provide because they have a staff strength of maybe thousands and lakhs. I don't have that strength. So I cannot give them casual leave and medical leave. But I can give them 4 days a month leave which they get according to the labor act.
And why the convicts are in jail, they are getting some kind of training there also. So can it be like this that since now we are calling there's reform centers and on jail, so the kind of training which you are got afterwards, the jail can also give them that kind of training so that it will be more useful. Here quotation. I know that lots of things are getting training, catering and this kind of thing, but what kind of
Jails get it, but the biggest problem I'm facing, I tell you, I have a contract with the State Department, Regional Institute of Professional Administration. I'm not paid from the last 15 months. From last 15 months, I have not got the State Department because the government has not sent money from the finance ministry and all the problems are there. So, it is, when the jail is doing something, it becomes a government affair. If some NGO or some private organization is not doing it, but if the training is, if they acquire the training inside and the moment they come out they prepare, there will be more beneficial for even the company you take care. There are some trainings which are given, like oil engines. There are some other like trainings that happen. But the moment they come out, they don't get a job related to that industry. They learn on that inside, and after coming out, they don't get a job related to that industry. That becomes another issue. So it has to be such that the companies, suppose like the companies who deal with such products or such work, like I am a security guard company. I give training for security guards.
Because there is one positive externality of your Kolkata Facilities Center. Maybe all externality are positive, but you are also looking at where the market lies. Because you need to explore it, and these are the jobs where market lies. And so if the jail authority they take input from this information, then their in-house.
So all the time you are the same. Like they took the input, they are training them. After training they come out, but they don't get a job. The problem if it is solved in such a way that particular X company which deals with X goes into the prison and train the prisoners with X. The moment they come out, it's like a placement service. So the moment they come out, they are trained and they get a job. Like you can give others some training, but after coming out, where is the reality?
No, so they should have some placement, counseling center also.
Yeah, that is it.
Training and placement. You have contact with people like you, who are doing something in field. You know that where the opportunities like this one, facility center is not absorb everyone. The problem is too big, but it is a model. So, what of scope to improve coordination? Just request Professor Mashwati Ganguli to explain our observations on this entire problem.
Thank you so much.
Well, I did not see this coming, so I'm sorry for not saying this. So, when I first met Nigel, I was reminded of a lot of programs which ran at my graduate school, Harvard, where there was a whole department of criminology, and regularly volunteers would go to the schools. It was basically a very thriving, well-researched field. So I guess I wondered why there will not be a similar field in India. And I spent a lot of time thinking about how someone with my background could really contribute to this field, and one of the ideas was the case study. Another idea was a survey of employment barriers to forex prisoners, which we have started, and Professor Badal is also involved in that. So thank you to IIM for entertaining this case study. And I guess I conclude with, as some of you were present at a workshop yesterday, at which the welfare officers and the probation officers from all the correctional homes in West Bengal were present. And when I went to get permission for this workshop, I was told by the IG that there were so many workshops and so many interactions and so many exchange of ideas, but something has to come as an outcome from those workshops, something which ultimately benefits the subject matter, which is the ex-business. So I hope that something concrete as I could from the board.